Hey there, Cancer. This is wishkotheferret. Thanks for hopping into the Ferret Den. We're keeping things warm and we're keeping things cozy here. Today we have a reading for you for April 17th to the 23rd. If you're Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this message could be for you. Your intuition could have called you even if you don't have Cancer in your big three, and that's fine too. The only thing to keep in mind for this... All right, there's something being said to me now, and I'm going to hold off on the channeled messages in a minute. There is a new moon in Aries coming up for this week is the only thing you have to keep in mind. It is a hybrid solar eclipse also on the 20th. So at the same time as that new moon in Aries, that's going to be the hybrid solar eclipse. So if you want to work with those energies, if you want to capitalize on those energies, if you want to figure out how it affects your signs, definitely check out your favorite astrologer so you can look at those forecasts. And we're just going to dive right in, Cancer. So immediately I'm hearing that a solution to a problem that you're wondering about will be offered to you. But I'm going to go in and say my prayer. That's the only thing that's coming in very strong. I say a general prayer for all these readings, so that message still applies. But as you are settling in, Cancer, as always, settle into your heart space. Let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you and which messages are for other people at this time. And again, Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or anyone feeling intuitively called to listen to this message. Could be for any one of you. I'm going to say my own prayer while you do that. So thank you, Archangel Michael, for shrouding this space in a protection, in like a protective bubble, filled with love, filled with golden light, filled with your golden blue light. Thank you, angels. Thank you, spirit team, for connecting me with the highest truth of our Cancer energies. Thank you for connecting me to the energies of water and for allowing me to channel these messages in such a way that is uplifting, empowering, reaches the people that it needs to, and is also understood by the people who need this message. Okay, Cancer, so you have some, interestingly enough, Spirit wants me to work with reversals today. Sometimes when the cards pop out in reverse, Spirit's like, nah, like you can go ahead and turn it upright, but I'm really feeling the need to just leave the reversed as reversed. So it seems like you have a tough time with the Ten of Pentacles here, seeing it's how it's reversed. I'm really feeling the sense that it's kind of like, this is like you rising up to the challenge, which is not the typical message of the Ten of Pentacles, but the challenge that needs to be tackled is wanting to achieve this Ten of Pentacles feeling. Ten of Pentacles, when we receive it upright in a reading, is our hopes, our dreams, our aspiration. It's kind of like it could be generational wealth or community. It is falling into the guidelines of kind of feeling, it's like a wish fulfilled type of feeling where you have goals and ambitions, and it's almost like it's not like your your career resume, but it's almost like you're getting stacked in your accomplishments, in your finances, in your ability to achieve. There's just something here about having goals and reaching them, and there seems to be challenges reaching these goals, or there's like, it's almost like Spirit saying rise up to the challenge. It might not feel like you want to rise up to that challenge though, because they have a Five of Cups here, which feels like a little bit of disappointment. I do feel like that there are some setbacks here that perhaps you weren't expecting, but I think that's okay, because again, the story of the Five of Cups is that he's crying over 3 cups of spilled wine when he still has 2 left standing that he can work with, and actually I'm hearing that you can duplicate, and you can kind of, I just heard monopolize or monetize on those 2 things still left standing. So it doesn't have to be a set 2 things, but whatever it is that's still standing, it's more profitable than you think it is. And this isn't just in terms of money. This can be, but I just heard, in your case it is. So for you, it could be money. For others, to make this more general, it doesn't have to be money. but something that could give you an abundance or a great deal of happiness or joy, or it could lead you closer to your goals than you think. But now that these 3 cups are spilled, expect that to be in Spirit's grand plan, because it is. I mean, it always is, but Spirit wants to draw your attention particularly to the fact that these 3 cups were spilled for a reason, and it's so you can call into focus these 2 things behind you that are still standing that can be profitable. And I believe that the 3 of Cups here, it was reversed. The 3 of Cups is like a celebration card. With it being reversed, I feel like there is a resistance to expressing this joy or this gratitude, perhaps because of these setbacks. But I feel like this is one of those cards that are like kind of sideways. Although it's like, it feels like a reversal right now. But depending on which attitude you take in this 5 of Cups, that's almost like your calling card. This is like your waking up message type of deal where Spirit is saying, okay, so are you going to celebrate the 2 cups that you have and like, really take stock and give it credit? Are you going to really step into and lean into those things that are still standing? Because if so, you can celebrate it. But it's going to be very hard to embrace this joy if you are focusing on the disappointment of losing things or needing to say goodbye to things that you find aren't working, or whatever setbacks that occurred, okay? So keep that in mind. And this might actually require a period of reflection, because Spirit does want to give you credit where it's due and that you've worked hard. And maintaining these 5 cups wasn't easy, and you still managed to do it. For some of you, I'm hearing that like the exact words from Spirit are, you've let some of these things escape you. So perhaps we felt like we were carrying too much, and maybe that's the reason why some of it spilled. It could have been, not to assign blame to this situation, because I feel like it's more complex, but they're speaking in very broad terms that you could have felt that this is your fault, that some of these things fell through, or you might be taking on, you're feeling some of the blame for it. And I think the question you have to ask yourself when you go into your little hermit mode is why that is. I just heard I despise myself, and I feel like this is your energy that I'm picking up on. And if you're really hating on yourself for letting these cups fall, or feeling some sort of responsibility or accountability in letting things fall, I don't think you should be as harsh on yourself as you are, just because, again, that's the reflection. Like, why do you expect yourself to do the world? Why do you expect yourself to achieve, to do everything, to, there's something here about marketing yourself for what you're worth, but perhaps you are like pushing yourself too far with that, or perhaps some of you need to start marketing yourself for what you're worth so that you can actually, this is just an example, but it's like, if you're not charging enough for like a product, for example, and you find that you're just barely making like a few dollars for a product that you spend a long time making, or like if you're not pricing things properly just because you want, like, maybe it's from like a good place, like you want your product to be accessible to people who don't have a lot of money. The duality of that, though, is that you end up suffering a little because you're not making as much of a profit, and if something comes up, you won't have the money to take care of you because you are trying too hard to give away everything else. And the truth of the matter is that you are actually undercharging. So, I mean, that's a very specific example, and that could be a very specific, I mean, if it directly applies to you and you've felt in your intuition already that you need to start charging what you need to charge and you're undercharging things, then definitely consider that. But the Hermit is a period of reflection in which we start to ask ourselves these questions, because it's really our inner values that manifest into our outer world. And when we do that inner reflective work, we can start to change what's on the inside so that we can reflect those things on the outside. And when something on the outside doesn't go the way that we want to or the way that we plan, that kind of offers a little bit of experience so that we can compound on the wisdom that we already have once we go back into the reflective hermit mode and start working through those things, okay? Working through like the subconscious belief systems and in like, why do I feel this way? Or I notice that when this certain situation pops up, I undercut myself here. Or when this happens, I tend to respond this way. Why is that? And when you pinpoint why exactly that's the case, or how it got there, then you can start to work on how to change it so that you can capitalize on your you can start working towards your goals and abundance and start capitalizing on the good energies there that you can actually work with. Some sort of product of change is the goal when you go into hermit mode, not just to wallow. Okay, so some people get stuck in hermit energy, but it's not quite hermit energy when you're not reflecting on the wisdom and trying to work through your things, because it is all, the thing about the hermit is it's all based around wisdom. It's not based on suffering or sorrow or beating yourself up, okay? So, and the only reason why I have to bring that up is because you have the Three of Swords here as well. I do feel like there is just pain to be worked through here, and that's okay. There does feel like, again, this disappointment cuts deep. It could be something that you've staked really high hopes on, and then it fell through. And you know what? That's okay. I mean, this could be something that you can try again later, and if not, I'm hearing, let's see what else we can do, or let's see if this will work instead. So allowing yourself to be flexible when pursuing your goals is going to serve you greatly now. Okay. You also have Lost Compass, getting back to integrity. I can't remember which sign also got this card as well, but for these cards, every time I pull from the Dream Oracle, or the Shaman's Dream Oracle, I'm always going to read the book. At least in this set of readings I will. So for Lost Compass, your description says, getting back to integrity, finding the way home, trusting intuition. When the Lost Compass appears, it is a sign that you need to find your way back home, back to your source and center, relying on your intuition to arrive there. Be wary of the signs telling you to turn here or there, or to avoid this or that person or situation, because the outward indicators are not reliable right now. Be careful not to believe all the advice you are receiving. Rely instead on your innate sense of direction and guidance, and use your homing instinct to lead you true. The Lost Compass has come to show you that you need to find new counselors. You are not getting the mentoring you need for your success. Who is that person you are looking up to as a model for what it means to be a woman or man? Trash that ideal, tear up the picture you carry in your mind. You are meant to be you, not the best copy of your dearest friend. Make this your mantra. Love me or leave me. The Lost Compass is a blessing in disguise, because you sometimes have to lose your bearings and find yourself afresh to discover a new course. True north never changes, so reset your way to your heart compass and trust your deepest feelings even when others do not support them. Remember that you are not lost, you simply do not know where you are going right now. Lost is a state of mind. Not knowing where you are going is an opportunity to find a way to a new path. Kind of like what we were saying before, it just because something doesn't work out, trying to work on, what can work out. So it is a tough situation to be in. So I do want to validate, I do apologize if this is coming across as tough medicine, Cancer, because I do not mean to, this isn't meant to, if this is destroying your spirit right now, then hop out of this reading, because this reading is not for you. I should be telling you things that your intuition already knows, and this isn't something, and this stuff isn't set in stone. If you, you can change the energy of this, and you have the power to change your manifestations here. Interestingly, dang, this is another card that somebody else got too. I do not know which pile this was, but one of these other readings got this card. But before I dive into that, Cancer, I just need you to know that I should be telling you things that have already popped up to you now. That they should be coming up from within your heart, and you should be feeling these things already. What I'm telling you is nothing new. So this should not be destroying your spirit in any way. So again, if you don't feel that this is adding hope or inspiring you in any way, then this reading is not for you. We have Elder here, move beyond ancestral patterns. So what I love about this card is that it's another call out card. I feel like we all need these types of messages. But there's something here that talks about perhaps things that have run throughout your family for whatever reason. And it's not because there's somebody old on the card, but there's like grandparents coming through. I'm not sure if your grandparents have anything to do with like your current situation, but for whatever reason, it's almost like something that your grandparents did, or something as far back as your grandparents' generation. So it depends on how old you are or what generation you belong to, but it would be your grandparents, whatever their values were or however they handled things, are things that you're trying to break now. There are some type of patterns that maybe perhaps worked for them and aren't working for you. And this could be in the form of just the way that they did things, the way that they, I just heard the way that they respond to like negative comments, or perhaps how they've dealt with their insecurities in life. Usually, and I'm not really sure why that particular message is coming through, but you know when people are triggered and they feel insecure about things and they might lash out, for example, that would be a way that, you know, if they can't handle their insecurities, they might shut people out immediately who point out their flaws when it's meant to be some form of constructive criticism, and then they don't end up getting better and they don't end up reaching their fullest potential because they haven't learned that lesson or resolved those feelings of conflict within them enough to embrace these parts of themselves and then just, you know, work with it, you know. So whatever this is, this could be anything for you. Apply it to your situation as you see fit, but I feel like this is a tough thing for you to break. You're on your way to breaking it. As soon as you get realigned, it's almost like you are, like, the more you step into alignment with yourself and the more you're following your heart here, the closer you get to breaking those patterns. So I think this can be a very natural process. I don't think this is something, I see somebody hammering away at something with like hammering a nail. So this is something that perhaps you've worked extremely hard in, or this could just indicate workaholism itself. It seemed like they worked very hard. I'm not sure if they were like with manual labor, or it's just indicating somebody who's worked very hard, or perhaps they have views as to how, how people should work or what they should do for work or something. There's just some type of values or beliefs related to work that perhaps you have taken on, and now you are trying to either break them or alter them or help them like integrate because you can like integrate those things as well. You can integrate them to work for you and your energy. You just need to figure out what has to go and what has to be changed or transmuted to fit your lifestyle. So I don't think it's hard. Like, for example, I am a workaholic and I feel like it's taken a lot away from my life, but my whole family they're all workaholics too, up the line, you know, and my generation, it's almost like, or at least like between me and my siblings, it almost feels like we feel more sensitive and burnt out, even though we didn't really like work as hard or do very much. I mean, we're all working very hard, and I worked super hard, but like it's almost like to this day I see like you know, my grandparents and my parents have always worked very hard throughout their whole lives for everything. So like like, you know, and I've seen like I've done that for a decade, and I've seen what it did to my life, and I did not like it. So I had to find ways to draw back from it, and I still get into those. I still fall into that sometimes, but it doesn't fit my energy. So on one hand, I admire it, and on the other hand, I adore it. Like I admire it and adore it, but then on the other hand, I can see the duality of that. So it's just a matter of integrating it for me in such a way that there is a balance for my energy, and that balance is going to look different for everyone. So that's kind of what I mean, and that I don't think that when we're fixing ancestral patterns or whatever, or when we're healing all of that trauma, it's just like I'm hearing like it's bullshit. Stop. You don't have to cut it out. You don't have to cut it out completely. You can admire it and work with it at the same time. It's just like you don't have to cut it out completely. I think a lot of spiritual advisors are kind of like very extreme sometimes when they go like you have to cut it out. You can make it work to your advantage. Like you can, if you transmute it to your energy, you can make anything into your energy, and you can integrate anything into it and still make it work for you. So you can still, even if things aren't serving you, they don't have to be completely cut out, okay? That's cutout culture, and or that feels like a toxic, like cutthroat, cutout culture, cancel culture thing. I don't really vibe with that. But anywho, I always like to assign a deck for around the new moon or full moon times because I like to honor the moon. We're pulling from Secret Garden by Jessica Leigh, or Lee, L-E. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. But I'm going to pull a card for around that time in the middle of the week just to see if we can get any extra guidance Because those times, at least for me, tend to be a little bit... new moons or full moons are really tricky for my energy, depending on what the sign is and like what all the other astrological energies are. So I always like to offer a little bit of guidance. We have relax for you, Cancer. Delight in powdered gold sunshine. I really do feel like, you know, for a lot of you, just need to take a breather. Honestly, exactly what this card says. Spirit says, don't make it complicated. Just relax. Delight in powdered gold sunshine. This is more than just about being present. So imagine, even just like getting into the headspace of imagining yourself on vacation, there's a very distinct energy of being removed from your environment of responsibility. And this isn't running away from responsibility, but this is just a matter of getting into the headspace where you are taking things very leisurely and you are not taking everything so seriously. Even though things are pretty serious, you don't have to walk with such a serious weight all the time. You can relax a little bit, you can have fun, you can treat it a little bit more like a lightweight than it is a heavyweight. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but your mentality will help determine whether your workload feels heavy or feels light. But that's just a, I don't want to say that's an example because it's not, but I guess it is an example because it might not relate to your workload. But just taking a breather and making sure relaxing doesn't necessarily mean going slow, but it just, again, I just feel like it's in the mentality here. And last but not least, Cancer, I'm going to roll the dice for you. I'm pulling from Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray, as always. We have 4, 6, 0. God is encouraging you to take extra care of yourself at this time, as it is crucial you are energized for the next phase of your journey. One more time, God is encouraging you to take extra care of yourself at this time, as it is crucial you are energized for the next phase of your journey. So again, take care of your soul, take care of your physical body, your emotional body, and your mental body. Relax. You don't have to go slow, but you got to take it easy and release some of that tension in whatever way you have to do it. Healthy ways, guys. But yeah, whatever is coming up in your heart and you feel called to now. So that's all I have for you, Cancer. If this resonated with you in any way, go ahead, like and subscribe and all the things. I have a Patreon that I am loading up here shortly. It is taking way longer than I thought it would, but it is coming. So if you don't want to miss updates on that, definitely go ahead and subscribe and all those good things, and liking and commenting and all that stuff helps support the channel. So thank you to your guides, thank you to you, and thank you to my spiritual energies for allowing me to connect to you and to channel this energy to you. I love you, I love you, I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye.